Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Homewrecker podcast, where we wreck and shatter conventional wisdom and ways of thinking to bring an alternative viewpoint to light. I am Monique, and joined with me is my awesome, wonderful husband, the Golden Greek, Alex Arion. Hi, Alex. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, as always. I'm surprised you didn't just say Alex.
Well, because you always call me
thanks.
your beautiful, gorgeous trophy wife.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we dropped trophy, though.
That's true, but
You wanted me to drop
beautiful,
trophy.
wonderful wife. So I was giving you
Well, thank you so much.
nice words as well.
Thank you so much. What a nice change for the intro. How are you doing?
I am well. How are you?
You already asked me that. I said I'm fantastic as
You know
always.
what's really funny? I get nervous because
Really?
I don't do that intro. You always do it. And I'm like, okay, now the pressure's on. I have to talk and I have to say it right. And it's almost like I hold my breath trying to talk because I get nervous.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
In full disclosure, I told you, hey, why don't you open the show today as the music's playing?
Yeah.
Had the mics muted, and I said, hey, why don't you open it today? You do it instead.
I can roll
You're
with
like,
it.
Okay.
I like to
Why
be
not?
prepared, but I can roll with the punches.
Sometimes spontaneity, that's how
Spice of
great,
life.
great moments come out of spontaneity, I feel. So, yeah, anyhow. So, nothing new with you? Anything new with you?
Lots of new things. We'll go over those.
Sure.
I guess I'll try to be quick.
Yeah.
So I said I've been knitting. I am cranking through this blanket. I gotta say, I've messed up a little bit, but most of it is fixable. Some things I've fixed as I go, and I think I'm doing a pretty decent job.
You've been knitting like crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I like it. You're making a blanket
I am.
for anybody that's not aware. Yeah, you're making a nice. I think it's going to come out nice. I don't know. I don't know knitting, but to me it looks good. So I'm sure like an experienced knitter could pick apart your work, but
And they
whatever.
have.
It's your first
As
time
I've shown
doing
them,
it,
yes.
so who cares?
But it's
great.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to sit here and we talk, or I'll be listening to something and I do my knitting, and I like
Yeah,
it. It's fun.
pretty
So
neat.
I think that that's something, if anyone is interested in starting something like that, go for it, because it might seem intimidating at first, but once you start doing it, you can start having fun and learn as you go and just keep getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of those like timeless skills.
Yeah.
That if you're doing something like that, it's like that'll never be not useful.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be something like right away that you're like, oh, I need someone that knits or whatever. But I mean, like if you know how to knit, well, you probably more than likely know how to sew.
Yeah.
I would think. And if you don't, it'll be easier for you to sew something up, like improvise it, because you know how to knit and you have the dexterity in your fingers and your hands and everything.
And I don't like sewing machines. I prefer to sew by hand. I feel I'm better at that, even though a sewing machine is way faster. And we were just talking, was it yesterday, the day before, how we were explaining to our kids how these mass merchandisers, like going to the store and buying your clothes, it didn't used to be like that. And people would make clothes.
Yeah.
They'd get the fabric, they'd get the patterns, and they would make clothes for their kids. And I was saying how I feel like we need to bring that tradition back, that skill, so people can start learning how to make clothes for themselves and for their children and family members or friends, and start bringing those things back. And I'm like, I more and more realize I've always known I'm a bit old-fashioned, but I am an old-fashioned kind of gal. I like cooking. I like doing kind of domestic things. So
It's very interesting. Like when you said we should start bringing some of that stuff back, I think we might, if the current trajectory of everything continues the way that it is, we may start seeing some of those older traditions come back. People learning how to grow their own food,
Mm-hmm.
how to make their own clothes. Those things may start to come back. I think that we're kind of seeing a certain amount of the population, a certain segment of the population kind of trending in that way.
Well, there's
And
a
I
lot
think
of
that's a
younger
good
people.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the younger people are doing homesteading.
Right.
Because they're realizing that the way society is set up now, you're not meant to really thrive. Go go get a job so you can afford your house and afford your car and afford your daycare, and you're in this vicious circle. And they're realizing like, no, I want to get land. I want to, use the money I have that I've earned to buy land, to be self-sufficient. So I don't have to go get that 9 to 5 job and grind and do all of that. And I love that because, yes, the more we can learn to be self-sufficient and help each other, I got the eggs, you got the milk, you got the vegetables, and we all work together, I think the better off we are. But, who knows? We could try that and do the best we can as society and still not make it work perfectly. Nobody knows, but I'd rather try.
Yeah, agreed. And I think, too, that a big part of that is not really talked about very much, at least not that I've heard, is when you are self-sufficient, I feel like, and this is going to sound almost counterintuitive, but I feel that people and society is almost happier because everybody has a purpose. Everybody's working towards something. Everybody is seeing the results of their hard work.
It's a fulfillment.
It's coming to fruition. Yeah. Exactly. And so I think that now in the age of instant gratification, everything, like everyone's dopamine is just messed up and screwed and fried because we get it so much with social media. I mean, geez, you want to watch a TV show? Well, you got the entire season right here. You can binge it.
Yep.
You don't have to wait for anything. There's no delay of gratification. And I feel like people just overall are not as happy because of that. That's a big contributing factor.
When you mentioned the dopamine, I thought, I get that watching my plants sprout. And I had to smile because I thought, oh, mine comes from when I plant seeds. Oh, and it's sprouting and it's growing. And I've said it before, I sing to my plants. Like I'll take songs like Tears for Fears Shout and change it to Sprout. And I'll be like, sprout, sprout, grow it all out. And I'll just like randomly sing to my plants and make up all these different songs for them because I want them to grow. So for me, it's really exciting. But that's my dopamine.
Mine is, if we're going to share dopamine stories, mine is seriously is when our kids, because we home educate, is when they'll pick up a concept, or like with our youngest, when he reads something or he gets like a math problem corrected he's been having a tough time with, and he gets it and he's like super happy. That's mine.
Yeah.
Or
when he just says something and you're like, man, he's so smart.
Yeah.
And it's great. Which I want to share a little something about them. Opening up with our kids, I witnessed one of the awesomest things during one of his learning sessions with Alex earlier this week. Alex is talking about, he's going over the courses with him, and he says to him, do you know who Lewis and Clark were? And our youngest goes, wrestlers? I popped so huge. I was like, that is awesome.
And I was only asking him because I'm trying to remember. Oh, we were looking at some early American art, and because I like to look at some stuff like that with them, just to kind of get them, initiated with what arts are and what's art and that kind of thing. And we were looking at Lewis and Clark artwork, like different drawings and sketches that they had made during their infamous and famous expedition. And so I asked him before we started, I said, oh, we're looking at art from Lewis and Clark today. Do you know who Lewis and Clark were? Because I know he doesn't know because he's 8.
But he's starting the conversation.
He hasn't got that far yet, but I'm starting the conversation, and I want him to either give me an answer, because maybe he does know, because he's a smart kid. He listens to his older brothers a lot and listens to their lessons and stuff, so I don't know. Anyway, I'm just asking just to see where his level of understanding is. And yeah, he comes out with that. Wrestlers? And he was totally serious.
I loved it. It was great. So
like,
good.
No, they're explorers.
That is our child.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So moving on, other things new with me, I am working on remineralizing my teeth. Because as you get older, you can lose the minerals in your teeth. And I am looking into different ways to do that. Part of it is always diet, but there's certain like toothpaste that have, it's like hydroxyapatite or something like that. And it's something in the toothpaste that is like on a nano level to get into like the enamel and help remineralize it. There's like these drops you can put in, and like you swish it in your mouth for 5 minutes, spit it out and just leave it, and that helps. Vitamin D apparently can help remineralize. Oil pulling. I try to oil pull.
It's a pain.
I hate it. I hate
but
doing
it's
it.
so effective.
I know, and I hate doing it.
For those that don't know what that is, that's when you take coconut oil and you want to try to get it heated up at least so that it's almost liquefied, and or you could just take a scoop
do what
of
I
it
do.
you just take a scoop of it if it's hardened up, and pop it in your mouth, and then you just let it melt, and then you swish it around in your mouth for what is it, about 5 minutes?
Anywhere from 10 to 20.
10 to 20. Oh, okay, excuse me. See, every time I do it for like three to five is my my go-to.
I've been doing it for 10.
So maybe I'm not doing it long enough, but
I've been doing it for 10, but I think part of it is putting it in my mouth, and it's hard, so I like chew on it and let it melt in my mouth, and I chew it until it becomes liquid, and then I start swishing it. But I hate doing it.
It's a pain. I think the thing with it is it's just such a long process.
Yes.
Because you brush your teeth, it's like 2 minutes. Or at least that's what it's supposed to be, right? Some people are like, oh, if you're Michael Scott from The Office, 10 seconds. But yeah, I think it's just time consuming, and most people in today's day and age, it's hustle bustle. It's how fast can I get this done? Again, like I said before, instant gratification. Who wants to sit and do something for 3 to 5 minutes in my case, or in your case, 10 to 15? It's like, that's a long time.
It is.
And
I mean, I can do other things. I can work. I can do other things.
Yeah, sure. You just can't talk to anybody.
Yeah. But if it's something where I don't have to talk to somebody, I can do it.
Sure.
I hate it. And then I feel like when I'm doing it after so long, it's almost like you can feel it become dirty from inside your mouth.
Yeah.
And then like when you go to spit it out, it's no longer that clean, crisp oil. It's like almost like you're changing your oil, and it's all dirty and nasty because it's pulling
from
all
your
the
mouth. Bacteria,
yes.
all the plaque, tartar, anything that shouldn't be in your mouth is coming out.
Yeah. And a lot of the stuff I'm doing, I'm trying to bring back self-care, because towards the latter of last year, I had a lot going on. And then it kind of stuff just continued, and I was in go mode. And I really put a lot of my self-care on the back burner. And I was like, I need to focus on myself. So I had a pair of sneakers. They're like a few years old, but I love them. And I noticed when I walk and it's wet, my feet get wet, because I hate that with shoes. It's like, come on, they're perfectly good otherwise. So I had to get new shoes. So I got Zero shoes, because we like the barefoot type shoes. I prefer to be barefoot, but I can't go everywhere in public barefoot. So I ordered 2 pairs of 2 different types of shoes from Zero, thinking I'll see which one I like the best, what fits the best, what's most comfortable, and I'll just get that one. I ended up keeping both because they're both amazing and they're so comfortable. And I also, I'm working on remineralizing my teeth. I'm taking more time to do knitting instead of I was like, I'll try to do 2 rows a day. Well, some days I spend hours knitting because that's something I feel like I want to do for myself. And I also, I don't like to spend money on myself. So like buying the shoes, the stuff to remineralize my teeth, all of that, it's hard for me because I don't like spending money on myself. But I was like, nope, I need to invest in myself. I need that self-care. And another thing I've been going through is with my hair. I've been using Dr. Bronner's for the past 3 years almost. And I feel like my hair it's not as nice as it used to be when it used to use the crap with all the chemicals in it. Looked great, but full of chemicals. And so I thought, I'm going to invest in myself and in something where I can get organic, get good product. I know it's going to be more money though. And so I found a brand. It's called Rahua, Rahua. And I went to the website. I was looking at the ingredients, considering everything. I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. And I was reading reviews, and it seems like a wonderful product. And the only downside was the customer service. A lot of people said if they had the products were great, but if they had an issue, they waited forever to hear from customer service. And that made me hesitant because when you're spending a lot of money on products, you want to make sure if there's an issue, it's taken care of. So I ended up, you can build your own bundle. So I got the classic shampoo and conditioner, which actually has a wonderful Palo Santo smell to it. And I got a heat protectant because I don't like putting heat to my hair. So I really don't, but I got a good protectant. So if I do, I can use that. I got a small thing of like an Omega 9 deep conditioning mask for my hair. And I got Amazon oil for my hair, for oil for my hair. And then I got like free travel kits of another type of their shampoo. And I got a free sample of the Amazon oil. And I got a free sample of another hydrating mask. And so I'm like, that's pretty cool. They give you all those things. And it was about $140 for everything. So my order comes in this past week, and then I go wash my hair. I did the shampoo, the conditioner, the deep hydrating mask. And it smelled so good. It was like aromatherapy in the shower. And it just felt so luxurious washing my hair. And I'm sure some people are going to listen like, seriously, luxurious washing your hair. But when you're so used to go, 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 and you don't take time for yourself and enjoy those things, and then you do, you realize like, wow, I am pampering myself. And my hair afterwards, I put some of the Amazon oil in. My hair looked so good after. And I noticed it doesn't get as tangled as it normally does. So the other issue I had, though, going to the customer service, when I got my package, the bottle with the heat protectant spray wasn't closed all the way and some of it leaked out. So I emailed them. I sent pictures of how it leaked, how much was missing in the bottle. And within 24 hours, I got a response and an order confirmation. They shipped out a new bottle for me. So the customer service was great. So it wasn't an issue.
Sure.
So I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just sharing my experience because if there's anyone else out there listening and thinking about wanting to do something for themselves in terms of self-care or beauty or just whatever, like take a chance. And if everything seems pretty good, try it, because I did that and it worked out great with this company. And I really love the product. And I'm really excited that I found something for myself that I enjoy and it works well. So yes, I'm on my new self-care going for that.
That's great.
Yeah. How about
That's
you,
awesome.
Alex?
What's new with me? What do I say all the time? Not much is new. Nothing. I just try to stay healthy. That's it. Trying to stay healthy for not only myself, but for my family.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big thing. Without your health, you got nothing. So that's all. I work out 6 days a week. Have been for the last almost 4 months now. Actually, over 4 months.
Yeah, longer
it was
than
like,
that.
yeah, it was like right around Thanksgiving time. I think I started.
Before that.
Oh, okay. And then, yeah, that's it. Just, I'm like at my strongest that I've ever been now at, I hate saying my age, but 47, which it's just so weird to hear myself say that I'm 47. But yeah, I'm like stronger than I've ever been. I'm not on anything at all, like no supplements, no anything. And like, yeah, it's just weird. I'm working out. It's very counterintuitive to what I'm used to, because I'm so used to just doing like the typical workout 4 days a week. For so many years, I was doing just Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and that'd be it. Like that was like the majority of my time with weights. Now I'm doing 6 days a week, and I'm getting like these amazing results. But no, I don't want to bore people with all that stuff. So
I think that's great, though, that you're doing that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Was it last week, a few days ago? I don't know. But you had sent me a link to an article that you found about movie theater experiences, because we were talking about movie theaters. We were explaining to our kids about when we were kids going to the movie theater and what that was like. And then you found this article. And I thought,
it just kind of happened. I wasn't looking for it. It just kind of happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that would be something interesting to talk about, because when you think about how movie theaters have evolved over time, at least from like, us going in the 80s
80s,
and the
yeah.
90s
Yeah.
to now. And I wanted to read the article you sent me from variety.com.
Sure. Variety.com.
Mm-hmm. This article is titled Texting, Weed, and Sing-Alongs, 4 Radical Ideas for Bringing New Audiences to Movie Theaters. The article goes on to say, it's time for moviegoing to get a makeover. From selling pot along with popcorn to offering cell phone-friendly screenings, cinema owners could soon overhaul the way their customers watch films. These changes, many of them once considered sacrilegious, may give the box office a much-needed boost. And there are plenty of people out there to entice, given that the majority of Americans these days aren't regular moviegoers. While the U.S. population has grown steadily over the decades, there haven't been many recent innovations drawing newcomers to the multiplex. The current crop of amenities are mostly luxe offerings that make the experience more expensive, like IMAX or dine-in theaters, which could be a tough sell if the economy continues to teeter. Thanks, tariffs.
Jeez.
Which I'm not even going to get into that.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
Below are 4 ways theater owners could revive attendance. The first one, lighting up profits. Imagine how much better Barbie or Deadpool and Wolverine would be if you could see it with a bud. Take Kev Jones, who was smoking a joint outside the AMC Times Square on a March weekend before a screening of Mickey 17. Quote, it helps me loosen up and puts me in a sci-fi frame of mind, end quote, he says, taking a big hit. Quote again, but honestly, I smoke before every movie, end quote. Jones, a member of AMC's Stubbs A-List, which allows moviegoers to attend several screenings a week for a flat fee, is a frequent guest, and he says he would come more often if he could buy and smoke pot at the theater. How fun would that be? He says. Quote, they have a bar here so that people can relax and enjoy a drink. I'd love to relax on my own terms, end quote. Under New York law, marijuana became legal recreationally in 2021 and began being sold through sanctioned dispensaries in 2022. No movie theaters are allowed to sell weed, but according to Taylor Randy Lee, press secretary for the New York State Office of Cannabis Management, things could change. Quote, at this time, cannabis can only be sold at legal, licensed adult use dispensaries or legal, licensed adult use microbusinesses, end quote, she says via email. Quote, for theaters to serve recreational marijuana at their establishments, they would need either an events permit or consumption lounge license. New York State does not have either yet, but plans to in the future, end quote. Selling weed could selling weed could bring fresh revenue and new customers to theaters and set the path for other cannabis-friendly states to follow suit. So let's just stop there.
All right.
Let's talk about,
should cannabis be allowed in movie
should it
theaters?
be allowed in movie theaters? And I think, well, if that's like a theater specifically for that, sure. However,
if it's a designated movie screening that is explicitly stated that marijuana can be smoked during this screening, okay. If it's explicitly stated, however, I almost feel like I don't know. I think that if it's explicitly stated, it should be allowed. If it's legal in the state recreationally.
I'm going to go over pros and cons.
All right, sure.
So let's say it was the building. This was a cannabis-friendly movie theater. Let's just say that's how they'd have to sell it. Because I don't think you can do that because of the odor. It would probably bother a lot of people if you have one showing doing that and then another one later on not.
That's why it would probably have to be,
people.
it might have to
so
be
let's say
theater,
it's an actual theater. Like that's the premise of the establishment.
Sure.
You still need to get air ventilation ducts that are purifying and cleaning, because what about the employees?
Well, don't they have to do that anyway? Isn't
Well,
that
they
something
should,
that they
but
do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But then you have to worry about the employees, because if there are employees inside the theater who could be exposed to that, that opens a whole can of worms. And you also have, with alcohol, usually people can cut people off with so many drinks. But with cannabis, if most people get high and they seem high, is what's going to last for one person going to be the same amount for another person? And how do you control that? And what if they need to drive home? So that kind of, again, whole can of worms into laws and legalities, safety concerns that I see as cons. However, in the just mere on paper idea of it, I could see how that would probably draw in a lot of people to want to do that.
Well, I mean, the way you get around that is just say no smoking of cannabis, but we sell edibles. And just, you know what I mean? Like, you could do it that way, I suppose.
The candy aisle.
But the problem is wouldn't that be then? Doesn't that stuff take longer to kick in? So it's not like if you were to smoke a joint, where that's like kind of more of an immediate feeling.
Mm-hmm.
If you take an edible, don't they vary in time from like 30 to 60 minutes before they actually kick in?
I think so.
Because
But
it has to go through like your stomach acids and your digestive tract and everything.
And I know there are all different ways people intake cannabis, but I think the issue is, again, I see how, in theory, it could be a fun idea to bring people in, bring them together, but there are so many legalities.
I think now the more that you're talking about it,
because it's mind altering.
Yeah.
And then again, what if, again, from the employee factor, if you're working there, then obviously like you're fine with it. But what if you're working there for like 20 years and you develop lung cancer or something? Could you go back and sue the theater because you were exposed to smoke? Where most buildings nowadays have no smoking policies. I'm not sure how that works. There are hookah bars. I don't know how that works with those employees. But these are the things that I think of that might cause concern. So it's one thing to be in a home and have friends over and watch something. And if you guys want to do that, you're confined to your house. But for a public business to be selling, dispensing, and having somebody smoke and have that the norm, I think there could be too many lawsuits, too many risks.
You brought up another point, actually, when you said about drinking, you can cut somebody off. With drinking, if you say you have a group of people that go out to drink, typically, if you're responsible, most people that are responsible have a designated driver, right? Who's the designated driver?
They're probably going to get a contact high in the theater.
I was going to say, you can't really control that unless it's edibles. And even then, it's like, how do you know? But it's really not the establishment's responsibility.
If they're selling it, it is.
Well, yeah, that's true. So I think, all right, well, with all these things you're bringing up, I'm saying, okay, maybe that's probably better that they don't do that. Get high in the parking lot before you go in.
Something.
That's it. That's probably, yeah. I don't think that maybe that won't be, isn't such a good idea to bring people back to the theater. And you think about it, is that really going to be a selling point for you to go to a movie theater? Because, I can smoke weed there. Well, if you could smoke weed there, can't you smoke it anywhere? I don't know. Whatever.
And again, it's trying to bring an experience to people. These third spaces, they're trying to bring that back and appeal to young people.
All right.
So I get the thought behind it. Now, going on in the article, feel free to text. Jessica Garcia, a college student in Michigan, loves movies, but can't remember the last time she saw one in the theater. Quote, I just like streaming things and sitting on the couch with my phone and snacks. Second screening, end quote, she says, quote, if there's a boring part, I'll just jump on Instagram or TikTok quick until things get going again, end quote. Yeah, we'll talk about this.
Okay.
Although cinephiles might object, if movie theaters want to attract younger audiences who refuse to give up their devices during the 2-hour running time of most films, they might need to stop banning phones. But it's going to be a tough sell. Alamo Drafthouse makes a phone-free environment a major part of its advertising. AMC CEO Adam Aron canceled a plan to test cell phone screenings in 2016 after facing a blistering online outcry. No texting at AMC, he tweeted. won't happen. You spoke, we listened. He also issued a full-page statement and retraction to the press just 2 days after raising the idea. While the idea might not appeal to purists, cinemas need to attract younger folks to keep theaters in business. So maybe it's time to find some middle ground on iPhones. That can mean hosting select screenings that allow texting. That way, second screeners could enjoy themselves at the theater, while serious moviegoers would know to stay away. Another possibility is in theater partitions that allow guests to talk while not bothering other customers. Guests to text while not bothering other customers, which was tested by Megaplex theaters last year. Theaters are already struggling to prevent audiences from reaching their devices. How much longer can they keep up the fight? Your thoughts on texting?
Good grief. Just that paragraph infuriated me, that this college student, if there's a boring part, I jump on Instagram or TikTok until things get going again. How do you know the story? How do you know what's going on in a movie if you're not paying attention? Like, what? So, what?
Kid's got a point.
I'm confused by that. So it's like, why are you going to the movie theater if you're just going to be on your phone? The whole point of going to the movie theater is to watch the movie. This, to me, no. Keep the damn phones out of the movie theater, please. Come on.
If you're watching something at home and there's a scene that's maybe a little too gory or a little too much for you and you don't want to watch, you can just kind of look on your phone until that scene passes, if it's making you uncomfortable in some way. But just to be like, yeah, I get bored, then why are you watching the movie?
Why are you in the movie theater? And that the other part of it is, if movie theaters are like, well, we need to bring in the youngins, so we got to allow phones. Guess what? You might bring in some youngins, but you're gonna lose people like me. You're gonna lose anybody that's like distracted by people that are on their cell phones, because it's ridiculous.
I'm gonna bring up a better point. Cell phones have cameras. What are you not allowed to do in movie theaters? Record the movie so you can't post them online for streaming, because that's what people do.
Yeah, that's true.
They go in with video cameras, they record the movie, and then they stream them.
Yeah, you can pirate movies that way.
So you can pirate movies that way. So
how are you going to stop that from happening in movie theaters?
You're letting people in with their cell phones. Somebody can just sit there, set up like a little stand, and it records the entire movie. But I think the other issue is, are cell phones going to still have to be silent? Because the sounds.
Yeah. Are they going to say, you can use your phone, you just have to have it silent? And I mean, it's only a matter of time. If you open that door and say cell phones are allowed, it's only a matter of time before but they have to be silent. It's only a matter of time before so many people are used, they have that dopamine, they need that little ding or whatever, they need to hear it. So they're going to slowly allow that to happen in 10 years down the road. It's a mess. No, keep them out.
It's like Ryan in The Office, where they go to like the trivia night.
Yes.
And he's on his phone. He's like, I can't. I need to be with my phone.
I need to be with my phone. Yeah. It's a sickness. I'm sorry. You're enabling people that have a sickness that they can't be detached from their device. Give me a break.
Yeah. I want my phone on me at all times, because as a mom with kids, if there's an emergency and my phone goes off, I want to make sure my kids are okay.
That's fine.
When you're not
at home, but when you're at home, is your phone in your hand all the time? No, you go outside, you leave your phone inside. You're not attached at the hip. Your phone's not a part of you.
And what's really funny about that is, if you don't respond to some people right away, why were you ignoring me? I wasn't at my phone. Yes, I leave my phone side. I'm one of those people.
I will go days, weeks sometimes without responding to a text, because honestly, my phone's not on me all the time. And when I finally see it, it might be too late, at least for me, to get into a conversation, and I'll just forget about it. I'm not ignoring people. That's just how I am. Yeah. If I feel like if something's really important, I almost said this to my own dad the other day, because I reached out and I texted him and we were texting back and forth. I almost said in a text, and I started to type and then deleted it and didn't send it. But I almost wanted to be like, can't we just like talk on the phone? Why are we texting? This is weird to me. I'm texting with my dad. Let's just talk. This is stupid. Why are we not like on the phone talking to each other? But I said, you know what? No, it's okay. I'll refrain. But it was just like, come on, like what's happening here? But anyway, we're going off on a side tangent now.
Wow.
Keep the phones out of the theaters. Moving on.
Well, if
Come
it's
on.
certain showings just to that, okay, but is it going to cause people to say, well, this movie isn't cell phone friendly, but I did it other once, it was fine. And then are people going to keep,
Like I said, I
yeah?
think it's
Is it
one of
going
those.
to
It's
slippery
one of
slope?
those things. Slippery
I don't know.
slope. Yep. I don't know.
The
That's my
next part
opinion.
of the article goes more than movies. Want to help Alphaba is Alphaba from Wicked. I
have
don't
no
know how to
idea.
say her name. I didn't see it. I don't care to see it. Reach that high note in defying gravity, or I don't know. I don't know this reference.
Is that what this is? This is a Wicked reference?
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You and a dark room of strangers could have done that at the popular Wicked sing-alongs that theaters hosted last winter. And cinemas aren't just offering that kind of enhanced blockbuster experience to bring in crowds beyond die-hard movie lovers. They're also offering screenings of older films that include previously unreleased material. The goal is to find alternative types of content at a time when studios aren't making as many movies. As a part of that effort, cinemas are broadcasting sports events and concerts. One company, Fathom Entertainment, has been a major force in bringing special events and alternative types of programming to theaters. Owned jointly by the big three American multiplex chains, AMC Theaters, Cinemark Theaters, and Regal Cinemas, Fathom started as a way to engage audiences during times of the week when theaters are less busy. Last year, the company's best performing release was the 15th anniversary edition of the animated movie Coraline, which ran in a season filled with opera performances, boxing matches, and even episodic TV shows such as the religious series The Chosen. Ray Nutt, the company's CEO, points to that show as an example of the sense of community movie theaters can deliver, given that people could have watched it for free at home. Quote, coming out of the pandemic, everybody wanted to gather communally somewhere, and they wanted to be shoulder to shoulder, end quote, he explains. Nutt says the company is hoping to expand by offering even more live content. Those experiences have the potential to reintroduce lapsed theatergoers to the joy of the multiplex. Quote, Fathom was built as a Monday through Thursday business just to put butts in seats when the commercial product was slow, end quote, he says. Quote, that was years and years ago, and we've evolved. This is a growth sector of the business, no question about it, end quote. So to pause there, talking about what Fathom Entertainment is doing, airing live events Monday through Thursday, doing sing-alongs, bringing previously unreleased movies or movies that had new parts added to it, things like that. I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, and think about what a lot of, at least Boston, I remember they'll have theaters play like the smaller ones, Rocky Horror Picture Show, and people will go all dressed up and they sing along to it because that's the experience. So when people know ahead of time, this is the type of experience, everyone's going to sing along in the theater. I think as long as people are aware that that is the experience they're going for,
that's
great.
That's great. I remember we mentioned that Wicked movie, a bunch of stuff coming out about that, how people were going to see it in the theater and getting pissed because people were singing along. It's like, I'd be pissed too if I went to go see a movie, people are breaking out in song. It's like, do that shit at home.
I didn't pay money to come here and hear you sing.
I paid money to hear whoever the star of the movie is or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that. So but like you said, if it's advertised as such and you know that that's the experience that you're paying for, absolutely 100%. I just feel that it should be something that you should know that is going to occur on the way in, like not something that just happens or people are just taking it upon themselves to all of a sudden, I'm the star of the movie, I'm going to sing the song. No.
And
that's not cool.
I get where people might be coming from because they're having their own experience and they're having fun. But when you're in a shared space, you have to be mindful of others, just like why you don't talk at the movie theater.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to hear your conversation.
Exactly.
We don't want to hear your thoughts. shut the fuck up.
Nobody
Let
wants
us
to
watch
look
the
at
movie.
you on your cell phone.
Nope.
Nobody wants to be distracted by the light on your phone when they're trying to focus on the light in front of them on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that's great. And it made me think of, wasn't it like one of the first or second WrestleManias they played in movie theaters on closed circuit?
Yeah, they did that for the first WrestleMania. The second one was on closed circuit.
Yeah.
The third one was on closed circuit.
Live events.
Sure.
And I think that's a great idea. Oh, you want to get a group of people together. You want to put on a live event in the theater. People can go with friends. They can enjoy it. Knowing, again, it's a shared space. It's not going to be like watching at home, and something like that's a little different. You might have people talking, reacting, cheering, whatever. But again, people looking for those third spaces, those communities to do something with others, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I know like Metallica did one of the, was it last year or the year before? They did their, one of their concerts they held. Like they aired it in movie theaters across the country, one of their live concerts and stuff. I think that stuff's cool. Why not? I think that's great.
All right. So the last part of this article goes to increasing accessibility. Making movies more accessible to people with disabilities or developmental differences.
Easy for you to say.
Right. Isn't just the right thing to do. It's also good for business. According to the nonprofit Autism Speaks, 1 in 36 children and 1 in 45 adults in the U.S. have autism, but cinemas haven't done enough to tailor that experience for them. That's changing, slowly. Regal and AMC are among the theaters offering sensory-friendly screenings, which dial down the volume, turn up the lights, and permit quiet chatter to make customers on the autism spectrum more comfortable. Open captions are another way to bring in audiences who aren't able to fully enjoy the current theatrical experience. These subtitles are essential for attendees who are deaf or hard of hearing, but such screenings are inconsistently offered. A 2022 New York City law mandates that open captions be shown for at least 25% of all screenings, with a directive to stagger show times throughout the week. Other cities are considering similar measures, which makes sense given that an estimated 48 million Americans have some level of hearing loss. That's a lot of potential moviegoers. At the moment, accessibility and alternative content are being more widely embraced than allowing texting or selling edibles at the movies. But given the challenges that the industry faces, maybe it won't be long until all of these challenges will be coming to a theater near you.
Changes.
Thank you. Changes. My apologies. I want to talk about that, the autism, sensory friendly, because having kids on the spectrum, our boys, if we go to the movie theater, will wear headphones because it is really loud for them. And I remember when the boys were younger, some movie theaters would have like daytime, like earlier in the day movies for kids. And it was geared so you could bring your kids and your babies for parents to come to so the little ones can watch a movie, but they might run around. But it's like, yeah, you're not going to watch a movie. You're going for your kid to watch the movie.
Right.
So again, geared towards a specific audience. But I do like that, trying to have things, because when somebody does have sensory issues, it can make it hard for them to want to go out in public, especially if it's sound. They might not want to go to the concert. They might not want to go to the wrestling show. They might not want to go to the movie theaters because it's too loud for them. And even wearing headphones and ear protection isn't always enough. So trying to offer things, again, I think the point in this whole article that we brought up is target a specific audience. Don't just have a general thing and do this, but have it specifically, this showing or this theater is specifically for this. And that way it allows people to know what they're getting into and enjoy the movie on their terms.
Having specific showings and screenings, okay, that's fine. But I think that the big problem here, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent, I'm just going to say it and leave it there, and then we can move on. The fact that there's 1 in 36 children and 1 in 45 adults that are autistic in the United States, I think we need to be looking at that.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
There was also, after I saw that, there was a New York Post article talking about the same thing and taking a lot from the Variety article. However, they bring up pickleball games and cocktails in the lobby and even bowling, designed to get people in the theater to see the latest flicks. And
Do you really want to read through another?
no, I
article?
was just
Or,
saying that was some of the stuff they brought up.
pickleball.
Pickleball.
What?
Now, the movie
In
theater.
a movie theater?
Yeah.
No.
The
come
movie
on.
theater closest to us, and I've seen this at other theaters, they might have an arcade. The one by us has axe throwing and an arcade.
Okay, but that's not
And
while the
it's-
movie's playing.
I know. I'm just saying it's outside, so people can come in and do that and see a movie.
Sure.
So I get how they're trying to appeal to people. When I was a kid, back in the 80s, you went to the movie theater to see a movie. They had popcorn, they had soda, and they had candy. Then, I want to say it was maybe around the mid-90s, I first saw it at the old Methuen Mall that became The Loop. They had a cinema that got put in. And I loved going to that cinema because not only did they have movies, but you could eat there. They had the popcorn, the soda, the candy, but they also had chicken tenders, French fries, pizza. Like, you could get a small meal and eat and watch the movie. And I love that. Then they had like chunky cinemas and these different places where you could sit and get a whole meal and watch the movie.
Have a server come and bring it to you and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so I have seen movie theaters evolve in that way, kind of saying dinner and a movie, bringing it to one. But how about you, Alex? How have you seen movie theaters evolve over the times?
Well, I mean, same way. Where for me, the best thing that ever happened was when they started allowing you to reserve your seats, and when they like changed the seats from like those hard seats, and then which eventually it was a hard chair to then it became like you got a little bit of padding and
little
cushion.
padding.
And then now most theaters that I've seen, especially the ones that I like when I was a kid, when I was growing up, the ones that are still around from when I was a kid, they change it so they have like those seats that you can recline all
they're
the
like
way
soft,
back.
cushy
They're
recliners.
soft, cushiony, plenty of room.
Mm-hmm.
They're not connected to the chair next to it, so it's not like you have to
Share a cup holder with your neighbor.
Share a cup holder with you. Yeah, exactly. And so that was like the evolution that I saw. And then you could actually reserve seats, so you could go on and say, oh, this is my spot. I want, or like, I like this seat every time I go to the theater. And if I go to a movie and it's somebody's in it, I'm like, and I got to sit somewhere else. That sucks. You can reserve your seats now in a lot of theaters. And I thought that was like a great evolution and innovation. To me, that was like as far as it should have gone. But then it started to get into the the meals and now alcohol and all this other stuff. It's like I was happy just that I can reserve my seat now and it's a comfortable seat that I can recline in. That's great. That's all I need. But the other stuff, it's like, okay, I could see like if you're going out for dinner and a movie or something, you can get it all in one whack and whatever. Okay, that's fine too. But I remember the very first movie I ever saw in the theater was E.T. That was the first movie that I can remember seeing. And I remember seeing Bambi in the theater and all, I remember stuff from when I was young, but the E.T.'s the first one that I actually have a memory of. I remember standing in line when the line was going around the block to see The Return of the Jedi when that came out in 1983. I think I would have been 6 years old at the time. That's an early memory I have. And just being outside in the summer and it just being super hot. And the line was, again, like I said, it was just around the theater. I'd never seen that many people in one place at once at that time. It was crazy. And I just remember, like I said, having a seat anytime I'd go to the movies, because back then we would go all the time. My parents would bring us, I'd say, I don't want to say weekly. It wasn't weekly, but seemed like it was several times a month. Like I'd go 2 or 3 times a month easily. And it wasn't a big deal because movie tickets were like, I remember being 20 years old and getting a movie ticket for like $3 if you went at the matinee at the theater that I went to.
Yep. It was like $3 or $4.
That was like 25 years ago. And it's like now I don't even know what ticket prices are now. It's ridiculous.
Like matinees are so you go online, it's like $10 or $10 to $12 for a matinee.
For a matinee? Wow.
And then if you when you buy online, there's a processing fee. So you're looking at $15 a ticket.
And that's just to get in.
Yeah.
That's not getting popcorn, a drink if you want to drink. I mean, hey, if you're like, no, I'm not going to get a soda. I just want a thing of water. A bottle of water is like $4 or $5. It's like, what? It's crazy. But anyway, for me, I that's what I remember. I remember going often and it not being super expensive. And one of the theaters that I went to, because there was two, the one that I would go to more often was one that the employees just couldn't care less. It was always young kids that were working. So you could go in, like say you went in on like a Saturday at noon, you could stay till like 6 at night and watch like 2 or 3 movies. And because they didn't check. So you could like sneak from theater to theater. And back then there, you could see Terminator 2 and then you could go into another theater and see, whatever other movie was playing, whatever Sylvester Stallone movie was out or whatever. Like you could do that and nobody checked. So that's how it was for me. And those are some of my earlier memories. Like that was fun. You could go in and sneak around and,
I never did that. I don't remember my first movie, but I do remember, again, my parents owned a video store. So I watched a lot of movies as a kid. And in 1987, we had a choice. One night in 1987, going to the movie theaters, we could see, we were going to go see Adventures in Babysitting. But Revenge of the Nerds 2 was out at the same time, and I really wanted to watch that because I liked the Nerds movies. Yes, I was 6 years old enjoying Revenge of the Nerds, wanting to see Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise. And so my mom went with me. My brother and my dad went to go see Adventures in Babysitting. My mom and I go to watch Nerds 2. We didn't make it through the movie before my mom pulled me out of that movie and
How
brought
far
me.
into it did you make it?
I think once they got to the topless girls and the little kind of
I don't know the movie.
They're
in
Miami.
Would you say it's 30 minutes in?
I don't know. I don't know how. Maybe
Okay.
about 20 minutes, probably a half an hour in.
Okay.
I just remember my mom grabs me, pulls me out of the theater, and we go to sit in Adventures in Babysitting.
Standing.
But I don't know. I don't remember my first movie theater movie.
Really?
Sad to say I don't. But I do remember I was about 12 or 13. Maybe I was 12 or 13. My orthodontist, I was in junior high. My orthodontist, he was giving out to the patients, the kids, free tickets to The Lion King in theaters. And my friend Katie and I went to the same orthodontist. And we went together. We sat in that theater watching The Lion King, bawling our eyes out. We are crying, just sobbing. And some guy, a man, sitting behind us is laughing at us as we're being traumatized by this movie.
It's a Disney movie. What do you
right?
expect?
That's what they do.
That's all they do. Traumatize youngsters.
Yeah, pretty much. And this guy's just laughing at us. I'm like, what an asshole. But yeah, I think with what you said with the recliners, oh my gosh, that was a game changer.
Game changer.
Yes, that was great. I thought, man, I need one of these.
And that was for, at least in our area where I grew up, that was like kind of that didn't start happening until like 2007, 2008.
Really? That early? Because I thought it was like in the 2010s.
It might have even been later than that, actually.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, might have been.
Because I thought when
it
we
was
started,
later than that.
yeah, because it
later
started
than that.
when we were dating, and we're like, oh, they have recliners here. That's new.
That's right. Yeah. So it was later.
Wasn't
than
it like one of the Regal cinemas, the one in Hooksett?
It was a Regal cinema, I believe, that did that. Yeah, because there was one that was in Manchester that ended up closing down after being open for, I don't know how long. But that was the one I went to all the time when I was younger. And then there was one in the Bedford Mall, which is not there anymore. But that was the one where like people just weren't even working there. There was like nobody there, but somehow the movies would play, and there'd be times where you could go in to buy a ticket because you're looking around like, where's the staff? Nobody's here. All right, well, I guess I'll just go in, and you just go in and sit and watch a movie for free. That happened several times for me when I was younger. So yeah, the one in Hooks that you're talking about, that Regal Cinema, that one came around a little bit later on, and it was I mean, yeah, when they got those seats, it was like, holy cow, they got these. They're spending money and upgrading this theater. Wow, this is amazing. But yeah, okay, I guess it was a little bit later. I thought it was 2007 or 2008 because I for some reason I have a memory of seeing the first Iron Man movie with my brother at that theater, and for some reason I thought
maybe
that,
it was.
I could have sworn they had the. No, you know what? No, I'm misremembering. No, because that's not where we saw it. We saw it at a different place that had the reclining seats when reclining seats became kind of a newer thing. But that Regal Cinema Theater, excuse me, that place didn't get those seats till later on. You're correct.
Yeah, because we went to Cinemagic. We used to go there.
Yes.
And then we went to Regal, and they had the nice seats because they redid it.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right. People from around the country are like, what?
People in other countries who listen to us are like, I don't know what you're talking about.
What are you talking about?
This is in New Hampshire.
Yes.
Yes.
So
in Massachusetts.
But yeah, the evolution of theaters. I mean, I started to learn about the movie theater, the actual economics of the movie theater business when I was in my mid to late 20s, because I became friends with a guy who owned a movie theater. And so he told me all about it. He would actually, I never went to any of these, but he would invite some of my buddies from wrestling and I to come up to his theater because he has a theater in Vermont, and you come up and watch whatever movies you want. He'd do screenings just for us, like late at night, but it was like a 2.5 hour drive. So I never went, but my friends always went. They said how awesome it was because it was just them in the theater, and they could have as much popcorn and candy and soda as they wanted, which, I mean, you could only have so much of that, but still it's like, here you go, have whatever you want. But he broke down the economics for me, which I never really had given much thought to. It's not the movie ticket sales. They don't make money off the tickets.
It's the concessions.
It's all concessions. It's all the drinks, the popcorn, the candy. That's the stuff that they make their money on. That's what they're counting on people buying. Yes, we'll get you in the door with the movie, but it's the concessions that keep the place going. And so I would always quiz them, like, well, what are the biggest? What's the ones you make the most money on? Like, is it, this new blockbuster's coming out? He's like, the blockbusters are okay, but it's the kid movies, like the Pixar movies, the Disney movies. The kid movies were the ones where you got a parent coming in with a kid or two, and the kids obviously want candy and soda and popcorn. Adults can tend to be a little bit more restrained in what they're purchasing, whereas when you get the kids, you want to make the kids happy. You want to make it an experience for them. So you're going to buy them the candy, the popcorn, the nachos if those are available, the sodas, whatever. You get the point. But he told me that, and that was kind of an eye opener for me because I had always assumed it was ticket sales. Because when you're like me, when I was following along with pop culture and keeping tabs on movies and stuff like that, I would get Entertainment Weekly, and I'd keep track of movies that were at the box office and what did this one do at the box office, what did this one do. So I thought that's how the economics are broken down. Like, oh, the theater must get a pretty good sized cut of the ticket sales if it's doing great. No, it wasn't like that at all.
And I remember my mom said that, like, when I was a kid, oh, they make their money on concessions. And as a teenager, when I go to the movies with my friends, we always would bring our own food. We'd sneak it in because we didn't want to pay.
Right, yeah.
But I remember, like, when I was a little kid and we'd go to the movie theater, that's where you could get the king size of everything for the candy.
Yeah.
And I don't remember king size candy being available till a little bit later and then it was like, oh, I can get it cheaper at the convenience store than the movie theater. So again, as a teenager, it's like, why don't I just at the supermarket or convenience store buy my king size candy, get my bottle of soda, and then I'll
sneak it into the theater. Yeah. And that's that's when some theaters were starting to do. They would check your bags and bag checks and stuff like that. It's like,
no,
absolutely not. Nobody's checking my. Not that I had a handbag or anything, but I put stuff in my fanny pack all the time. I'd put like Reese's peanut butter cups. I wouldn't get the king size. I'd get like the 2 packs, whatever. But I'd sneak stuff in that way. You get creative. I'd put like my soda bottle. I'd tuck it into my pants and really suck in my belly so you couldn't see it. Yeah. And I'd wear like a baggy sweatshirt. You figure out, you get creative ways.
A jacket with pockets on the inside that you could kind of put it in without anyone noticing.
Sure,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people, of course, people are always going to figure out ways to buck the system and go against the grain and break the rules. That's just kind of part of.
But when you're offering
the human
something,
experience.
like with the food, when you're offering something I can't bring in myself.
Correct. That's
when it's like, oh, okay, well, I can get it here and I'm hungry.
And it best be good, because if you want repeat business, you got to make sure it's quality.
When we were at the Loop, the old Methuen Mall in Massachusetts, and they had those, it was like chicken tenders and curly fries. And it was like real chicken breast. It's not like the processed, chopped up chicken meat pressed together. It was like real pieces of chicken breast battered and fried. And I liked that. It was good. So I was like, yeah, this is great. And it wasn't as expensive as one would think it would be. So I always loved going there, get my chicken tenders.
Do you remember, well, you actually mentioned it earlier, but when we were talking about like the people that go into the theater and they're like singing along to Wicked or whatever, like I'm not against any of that stuff happening. Like I said, if it's something that's advertised, if that's what you're getting into in advance. But have you ever been in a theater, like a packed theater, when something organically happens, like the audience is so into the movie and they're so sucked in that you get the collective oohs and ahs and the ohs and that kind of stuff? Have you ever been in a theater for that?
Yes.
Give me some of your experiences.
Blair Witch Project.
Really? That movie?
Yep. Before it came out on the talk shows.
It came out like that weekend. Did you see it that weekend?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And everybody was just like, and I was like, I don't think this is actually really, this is a movie. And of course, oh yeah, there are credits. It's a movie.
That the Blair Witch Project, I remember when that came out, and I remember that was like one of that was like one of the movies where they did like viral marketing and everything. They had like a website where you could go to the website and stuff before the movie came out. You could see like different news clippings and all this kind of stuff from the Blair Witch Project. And I was like looking into it like it was a real thing because I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I remember we were going to go, my buddy Steve and I were going to go see it the weekend that it came out. And I remember just randomly being up late one night, and the female star, Heather something or Heidi, I forget her name now, I'm sorry. But she was on the Leno show promoting the movie.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
Like, wait a minute. Hold on. So this is not real?
Yeah.
Wait a sec.
But they did such a good job at first.
Blew
but they
the whole
they
thing
blew the
for
spot.
me.
Yeah.
It blew the spot. But I was like, okay, well, that's actually very clever. And, I went and saw the movie anyway. I was like, all right, it was cleverly done. If I would have went in thinking it's real, I would have gotten a lot more out of it. I would have enjoyed it more. But
what the best was about that was leaving the movie theater, because it was at night and it was dark and it was creepy.
Of course.
And it felt like everyone leaving the theater who just watched it walking to their car seemed so creeped out, kind of looking around, wanting to get quickly in their car. I loved that. I thought that was great.
That's the mark of a good movie, or a good build up, setting the good tone for the movie, and then delivering on it. I think that they did that well. Mm-hmm. I just wish they would have held off.
They would have waited. Wait like a couple of weeks.
No, not even that. Wait till Monday. Let the opening weekend happen. Yeah. Wait till Monday at least, But whatever.
I remember seeing the Pirates of the Caribbean. I think it was the second one. And I went to a very late movie. I think it was like the premiere, and it was at like midnight. And there were two parts of it. One, everyone's like, oh, like people would cheer at certain things because they were having fun. But I remember a couple people brought their fucking kids. This is a midnight show. What the hell are you doing bringing your kids with you? And they're whining and crying. I'm like, man, you are ruining it for everybody. Don't be that guy.
Yeah, that's always the worst when you see young kids in a movie theater at like 11 or 12. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, this is not for them.
Hey, it happens. What are you going to do?
But it shouldn't.
I remember seeing Signs in the movie theater.
Great movie.
I saw it the opening night, and I think it was at that Loop place. I'm pretty sure it was there. Mm-hmm. And the place was packed. It was so packed, we had to sit towards the front of the theater because we got there a decent time, but by the time we got our popcorn, refreshments, whatever, and got in, we had to sit not the front row, but it was pretty close to the front. What?
Remember waiting in lines for things?
Yeah, you remember that when you had to do that?
Well, you'd wait like 20 minutes in line. You had to plan ahead
to get and then obviously when you finally could get in, you just took whatever seat was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember that movie and just like the different parts of that movie where stuff would happen and like the whole crowd, oh, and like the reveal of the alien at first when it was awesome. And just and I was like, wow, I never thought, because I used to hate crowded movie theaters for that reason when people would be loud. But that experience I actually enjoyed
because it was more of a collective, organic
collective.
thing.
It was everything, and it was exactly. And it was organic.
Yep.
It was a collective experience. Everybody was doing it, and it actually added to the experience for me. So now every time I watch that movie, and we'll watch that.
I love
once
that
every few
movie.
years,
I don't
we
get
watch
sick of that movie.
Yeah, we'll watch that once, every couple of years or so, and every time I always remember that experience and just like how, oh yeah, this is the part where everybody's like,
swing away, Meryl.
Yep. Yeah. And I remember when that happened, everybody's like, yeah. Like collectively, everybody, like a loud guttural, yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan, I'm just going to go off for a minute because there is something about his movies when I watch a lot of them and it's like all the dots finally connect together and it almost gives you goosebumps. It's like a feeling inside. It's so cool. I love that because I know you don't like Lady in the Water. No. I love that movie. If you haven't watched it, give it a try.
Maybe I'll give it another try.
Oh, I freaking love that movie. And there's a part where it's just all the dots connect together and you're just like, you get this feeling inside. It's like excitement, goosebumps, like almost a chill up your spine in a sense, but with like just this sense of like things coming together and it feeling so right and so good. I feel like he's really good at doing that when he wants to with certain movies. And I feel like he really nailed it in Signs and in Lady in the Water. Those were like my top two favorite movies of him that he does.
I don't know if I have like a favorite or whatever. I enjoyed a lot of his earlier stuff. And then like I saw The Village in the movie theater because it was, his movie or whatever. And I'm just like, this is terrible. What is this garbage?
I liked it.
I didn't like The Village and I never gave it another chance. So it could be just the frame of mind I was in when I saw it back then. Maybe I could watch it today and enjoy it and really appreciate it for what it is. I did not at the time, and it still has that negative emotion attached to it. So I'm just like, that movie sucked. I didn't like it when I saw it. And so the next movie, Lady in the Water, I didn't see that in the theater. I waited for that one because The Village left such a bad taste in my mouth. And I watched that one and I was like, and it was with an ex-girlfriend who thought it was the greatest movie of all time. And so of course, right away, I'm just like, okay. And when I saw it with her, we were kind of starting to be I was kind of starting to get sick of her and it was on the way out. So it could be that maybe I watched it with that negative emotion attached to it as well. I don't know. So because you're putting it over so big, maybe someday I'll give it another chance. But
maybe someday.
Maybe. I always toss the maybe, and I'm never going to commit unless I'm sure. So.
I was going to say something else, but I forgot.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Well, he did The Unbreakable. The Unbreakable movie came out after The Sixth Sense.
That's another one. That's right.
Sixth Sense, I saw that in the theater like 3 times because I thought that was like a great movie. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie.
I remember my point. The Village. Okay. I loved it, but I just remember thinking, well, what they did was awesome in concept, but they did it wrong. They got way too like in these certain like how can I explain it? Like the way they talk, they went a little too old fashioned on it. They should have kind of, I don't know, not been as weird about it, but they had the right idea. I just think that they did it kind of, in my mind, they were doing it wrong. They could have done it better. The group of people who like
you're talking about the actual characters in the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the ones who remove themselves from society. Like great concept, but you're doing it wrong. You could have done this better and then you wouldn't be in this predicament.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I was like, I want to do that. I just want to move away and live in the woods somewhere.
Well, I bet you Unbreakable because then he did the follow-ups where he did, was it Glass?
Yes.
Mr. Did that come out first or was it the movie? What was the movie with, oh gosh, what's his name?
The dude who's an X-Men.
The X-Men. James McAvoy, is that his name?
Yes.
Where he's the split personality guy. Was that first?
No, Glass was first, I thought.
So Glass, and then was it Split?
Yeah.
Is that the name of the movie?
Something
but
like
wasn't there another, like a third movie or a fourth movie?
No.
Or that was the 3
I think it was the 3.
Right? Okay.
Those are all good.
I thought that they were good and they all like kind of sort of pieced together pretty well. I thought I enjoyed those. But anyway, I don't know. What was the? He did another movie recently.
Trap.
That was his. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was his. Yes. Okay. That was
Josh Hartnett, I think. Was that
Josh Hartnett. Yeah.
Hartnett, yeah.
Yeah. That was
was
all
okay.
right. I enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed it. But anyway, all right. M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
So, did you have any other movies other than the Blair Witch Project that you can
And the
recall?
Pirates of the Caribbean
And the Pirates
too.
of the Caribbean.
I'm sure there were, but do you know how people have like, I've forgotten more than you've ever learned about this? That's how I feel with like movies and music and like seeing bands and watching movies. I've seen so much, I forget more than some people have probably ever seen.
No, I can relate to that. That's why, like, for me, I'll just randomly bring something up because I remember it. Just like pops into my head for some strange reason, and we'll start talking about it. It's like, oh yeah.
But part of it with the movie theater experience, what I think really changed it was streaming.
Yes, that was the big thing. Once you could now
You could just watch it in your home.
watch it at home the same day that it comes out in the theater, why am I going to leave?
Why would I leave my house?
Like, it's amazing to me that movie studios actually were on board with this.
I know. Why would I leave my house? I'm already like, I pay so much a month and I get all this other stuff. And so I'm basically getting this movie for free in the comfort of my own home. I can eat whatever I want. If I want to order food, I can get it delivered. You know, if I want to,
Pause
drink.
it, get up and go to the
Yeah,
bathroom.
I
don't
can
have to miss
pause
anything.
it.
Sure.
You can do whatever you want at home and you're not bothering anyone and you don't have anybody bothering you unless you have kids.
And that's the thing. Like you buy it, like because you can buy it. Like for example, they have street
or rent
you get it
it
on like Amazon Prime. We have it's Fandango now. It used to be Vudu. There's like Movies Plus, all these different streaming services where you can actually just buy the movie and $20. And I say I can't believe movie studios allow it because $20, you're like, well, yeah, you own it, then you have it forever, but you can watch it as many times as you want. So the repeat view business is gone from the movie theater. Plus, if it's $20 for you, for your whole entire family, for your friends, for your neighbors, if you want to invite them over, whoever. So all that ticket revenue that the theaters were getting and that the movie studios were getting is now gone. So to me, it's kind of strange that movies, for some reason, their budgets seem to get bigger and bigger and more extravagant, but the ticket buying audience has gone down. So I just wonder, how are they making up that revenue?
And I've
now?
heard theories about how Hollywood is a money laundering scheme.
Same here.
And how, because how do you get all this money? There's no way you're making that in profit. Because think about like a movie on Netflix, right? Netflix produces it, they pay for it. Let's say it costs,
but that's Netflix.
I'm just saying as an example, it costs $20 million to make. Are they really making $20 million back on that movie?
In subscribers and everything that they already have? You can't use Netflix as an example. When I'm talking about movies.
Well, because I'm talking about streaming in general.
About movie studios,
but a regular
though,
movie studio, how are they making that back?
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about like is there even MGM anymore?
I don't know.
I don't know. But I mean like a movie studio that's making a movie. Before it was like, okay, you got a budget of $50 million, we'll say. I mean, now that seems like nothing. But that would be for your actors, your crew, your special effects, your stunts, whatever, everything. And then you get like a marketing budget of say 10 million or whatever it is. But this is your total. And you recoup that with your box office typically, and then DVD sales or whatever after the fact. But now it's like, okay, where is this upfront money coming from if you're not getting it at the box office, if people are not going to the theaters? Because I just don't see how the amount of money, even though you're charging $20, let's say you make it $30 for a movie if you're buying it to stream at home, if it's not on one of the, like a Max or a Netflix or a Peacock. How do those economics match up to when you would be charging individually for a ticket? We'll say even $10 for a movie ticket on the cheap side. How do those economics match up? To me, they just don't make any sense.
And I will say, I don't like buying movies streaming. I need the tangible product because I don't trust these streaming platforms to not alter my movie.
Well, they've done it.
They've done
already
it. They do
now.
it.
Yeah.
They'll take out scenes that are now considered inappropriate. Like that's not your
Offensive. It's like, what?
that's not your place to do that. Let me decide if it's offensive or not.
Not only that, but just the fact that, and I don't want to go crazy on a tangent here, but just the fact that, I mean, if something from 1985 is considered offensive now, okay, but it was 1985. Are people that sensitive that they're going to get upset and offended about something from a movie in the 60s or the 70s that you're going to alter it now?
But let me as the consumer decide if I want to support that or not.
Exactly.
Let me decide with my wallet.
Exactly. But yeah, whatever. But yeah, you're right. The streaming now has changed. I mean, people are not going to go to movie theaters as much for that purpose. Now it's convenient. Now you can watch it. Never mind buying it and watching it on your TV. That's what we do. The majority of people now, especially the younger people, are watching it on their iPads or more often than not, their telephones, their cell phones. That's where people are consuming media now. It's on their phones.
I remember years ago, I dated a guy and he was like, "Oh, want to watch a movie?" I'm like, "Okay." And he pulled out his laptop. And I was like, "You have a TV. Why aren't we watching it?" Like, how do you watch a movie on a laptop? I was thrown off by that, but apparently, and I remember I'm like, "Oh yeah, some people do that. That's weird."
I remember the first time I saw somebody do that, and it was the movie Old School. And it was, while it was in the theaters, they pulled out their laptop, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, how are we? This is in the theater. I thought you meant like go watch it, like go to the movies." That's how I took. Hey, want to see Old School? That movie Old School. I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'd love to see it. It looks like it could be funny." And he pulls out a laptop. I'm like, so I'm thinking, oh, is he going on to like the website? Like, what's he? Even then, it was like you weren't like buying tickets online then.
Were you looking up showtimes?
I didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he's like, "You going to watch it?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I have it." Like, how do you have it? It's in the theater. It's not even like, what are you talking about? And he like turns his screen and sure enough, it's coming up, the credits and everything. I'm like, what?
That's like Spaceballs.
And I sat there and I watched the movie and I was just like in awe, like I'm watching a movie that's in the theater on somebody's laptop. What's going on? And then he explained later he had got it off a pirated movie site, and he explained that it wasn't even because this like annoying little crawler was coming up on the top, it kept scrolling by, and it was one of those movie screener DVDs that somebody had gotten a screener, and they put it online, and he downloaded it from some like website, and I'm just like, what? Yeah, this is a thing? Like, I didn't know.
Screeners were the best because my parents in their video store, we would get a movie before it came out. So my parents knew how many copies, do they want to put it out, how many copies they might get. So that was like a little perk.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And you get screeners. So you got to watch it before it came out on VHS or DVD. But that was great because we would get these movies and watch it. Yeah, and have the little... Not for, not
for resale or whatever it was.
Yeah. But those are great. But the evolution of movies has changed. And again, now with streaming, it used to be no ads, and now there are ads everywhere. So even if you subscribe to Prime, now you're getting ads in your movies. And it makes me think of the olden days when, was it like in the 50s, and people would go to the movie theater and they would have advertisements.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And it's like you can't get away from that because I think that's a lot of their revenue. They make it from advertisements. And then also maybe another factor is movies making money because they're doing product placement.
Sure.
A lot of movies do that.
Sure. I don't think I think that might be exaggerated as far, you might put a little too much economic value on the product placement, unless it's a movie that's full of it. I don't think that gives as much of the revenue as...
Well, what I'm saying is some movies, it's like that must be how they got all the money because it is over the top with product
some
placement.
Movies, sure, yeah.
But
I know, like, speaking of the streaming services, like we have Peacock, and we don't really watch a lot of movies on there, but on the off chance that there might be something catch 100% we do, they will put all the ads at the beginning of the movie so you can enjoy, and it even tells you so you can enjoy an ad-free movie experience. and it's like 3 minutes worth of ads that you have to sit through. So it's like, okay, we'll start it up. You know what's coming. So
But at least your movie's not interrupted.
your movie's not interrupted. You can watch the whole thing start to finish. I mean, you pause if you want to, but you're not going to worry about ads happening.
No, because isn't it the worst when you're watching a movie and then they put an ad in the most awkwardest place? Like somebody's in the middle of a sentence and it goes to an ad.
Or like a scene of high tension. Like so you're waiting for something to happen, all of a sudden ad. It's like, what? No, it takes
not
you
the
completely
place
out
for
of
a
it.
commercial.
Yeah. But that's all that a computer program does all that. It's not like it's a person.
Should have been programmed better.
But yeah, I agreed. But yeah, it's incredible just the evolution, not only of movies, but just media. Like, do you remember, I don't want to go forever on this, but do you remember buying cassettes, CDs? And now it's like you just get it on your phone. Like, what do you need?
Again, I don't like doing that. I want the tangible item. I want the CD or cassette.
Sure, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, if it's a band that I really enjoy, like Metallica, new Metallica album comes out, yes, I'll get it on my phone. Of course, I'll get the digital, but I always get the CD as well. I get the tangible version of it. It's just
even books. I need the tangible version.
So
if there's a movie, I will wait the couple of days or a week to buy it and have it come in. If it's not somewhere I can get it at a store, I will wait because I need that. I'm not going to buy it because what if I buy it on Amazon or Fandango or whatever and something glitches and it gets lost or they alter it and they edit it? I want that tangible item.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that, again, we went on this whole multiple tangents everywhere, but just movie theaters. Remember those?
Yeah, remember those? Maybe they'll make a comeback. We'll see. We brought our young ones to see what was that called? Dogman.
Yes.
Recently,
that was cute.
So they got to see their. It was our youngest's first movie theater experience, and I think it was a good one for him. He seemed to enjoy himself, so it was good. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to go out and do, but I used to go to the movie theater when I was, again, younger, as a young adult, and I would go for a matinee on a weekday because I wanted to be the only person in the theater.
Sure.
Because that's again, how I am.
Yeah, I remember
I want to be the only person there.
Yeah, I remember trying to do that too and getting disappointed when somebody else would walk in. It's like, oh, someone else is in here.
You're in there? And you're like, yes, I am alone. And then somebody else comes in. You're like, seriously?
Did you feel weird the first time you went to the movies by yourself?
No, because I went and I was alone and it was wonderful. I was the only person in the theater.
I had like, because I used to always go with a friend or with my younger brother. Like that just always used to be the thing. And I remember the first time I did it, I was like, I felt weird doing it, but I was bored. I'm like, I don't want to sit around at home. There's nobody's around, whatever. I'm just going to go by myself. Let's see what happens. Middle of the day, probably not going to be too busy. I hate crowded theaters anyway. I go in and it's just me and I'm like, this is awesome. This is a great thing. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner.
And that's why streaming is so great because now you get that experience at home. I'm alone and I'm watching a movie.
That's it.
I'm uninterrupted. The kids are gone.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, if you want to share your movie theater experiences, something crazy, special, an organic thing that just happened that was really cool, or things you remember or that we didn't touch on, share it with us. Let us know. Go to homewreckerpodcast.com or find us on Twitter at homewreckerpod.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. And, of course, if you're listening to this on YouTube, leave a comment.
Sure. And subscribe and like, please.
Yes. All right. Well, until next time.
I am Monique. And I we both jumped in there. I thought you were going to let me do it. I will let you proceed, my love.
No, I stepped on your toes on that one. Why don't you go ahead and wrap it up? And
I've been joined by my wonderful, awesome wrestler husband, the Golden Greek, Alex Arion.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker Podcast. We love hearing from and interacting with our hearers and watchers. Feel free to reach out to us on Twitter
at HomewreckerPod.
You can also visit our website,
homewreckerpodcast.com,
where you can check out past episodes and pick up some Homewrecker Podcast gear from our online store.
Also, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're hearing or watching our show. That way you can be notified whenever a new episode drops. We're on all major podcasting platforms, and you can check out the video versions of our show at YouTube and Brighteon.
You can also find Monique in a few places online as well.
I'm on Twitter @_Monique Giselle_. If you're interested in a tarot reading, organite, incense, candles, and other cool things, you can go to my website, tarotbymonique.com. Or if you're interested in hypnotherapy, you can go to innerstandingshypnosis.com to schedule a free 20-minute consult. And follow me on Twitter @MoniquePCHT. And Alex, how can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter @TheAlexArion, and you can check out my website, alexarionfitness.com.
And if that's too much to remember, we get it. That's why we put it all in our show notes.
Thanks for spending your time with us, and we appreciate all of your support.
We do. Thank you. We love you. Many people are unaware just how much hypnotherapy can help them, or think it's only to help lose weight or quit smoking. But there is so much more hypnotherapy can do. It can help with stress, anxiety, insomnia, phobias, performance enhancement, connecting with your spirit guides and higher self. You can even discover past lives and your life between lives. Heal traumas, break habits, find your deepest truth, or just have fun discovering who you really are, all from the comfort of your home. I'm Monique Pliakis. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I want to help you. Schedule a free consult by going to www.innerstandingshypnosis.com. That's INNERSTANDINGSHYPNOSIS.com. Inner Standings Hypnosis. Find your power and ignite your inner light.